So as you can see, it's a pretty nice size. It's starting to actually look like a rug. What is that? Hi there. Oh, am I boring you already? You're beautiful and I love you. So despite the fact that I am quite busy right now and I have several videos to edit and, you know, projects I'm already working on and a more than full-time job at the moment, I thought, hey, you know what? I have 30 minutes of free time, so how about I start something new? What you doing back there? This is one that I got the idea for quite a while ago and I've just been putting off getting into it because I'm not entirely sure it's gonna work. But I finally bought the supplies the other day. That's what all of this yarn is for. It is for this project. Hi, you wanna sniff those now? Ah, I almost took out my microphone. 4 skeins of Blanket Extra. Oh, just stick your nose right in there. Was that a good little nose spot for your snoot? I can like visualize what this project will look like in the end, but I have absolutely no basis for whether it will get there. I could be entirely wrong. So I have no idea how much yarn I was gonna need. So I got 4. If I use all of it, it'll be almost 400 yards of yarn. But what is the project, you ask? Because you haven't said, although I'm sure it's in the title of this video. Oh my god, I can't stand my hair being down. So in the past, you may have seen that I made a video about needle lace, and then I made another video about needle lace styles from around the world, in which I did a bunch of research and tried out a bunch of styles from all over the place, and the one that I really fell in love with was Armenian needle lace, which, yeah, I'm still working on that piece to this day. And it hasn't gotten all that much bigger. Shortly after I did that video, I was thinking, what would happen if you did Armenian needle lace with something giant, like a big ol' blanket yarn? Would it be big enough to be considered a rug? There's a lot of variables here that I have not thought through or practiced, and I do not know if they'll work whatsoever. The first being, it is needle lace, which means you need a needle in order to do it. And this is quite thick stuff. So, don't think there's a needle this will fit through. I did buy the biggest needles I could find at the craft store. These are for Super Jumbo Tapestry Needle Set. For eyelash and super bulky yarn. I mean, this is super bulky yarn. If I can get this through this giant plastic needle, oh, it goes through so easily. All right, you know what? I had this whole backup plan involving skewers and tape. Unnecessary, because this works. I basically thought I would start this today because I think this is going to take me a while. I mean, this one has been worked on quite a bit and it's not that big. I'm assuming the change in yarn size will make a giant difference in how long this takes me to make, but I'm also assuming that it will still take quite a while. So I'm going to use the exact same method that you would use. I'm literally changing nothing, which means the very center I'll make by wrapping the end of a cut piece of yarn around my finger to make this little X, and then sliding the needle underneath that X. Then you take your working cord, wrap it around the needle, and pull through to make a knot. Then I'll do the exact same thing and now I have a little loop of thread like a petal. And that's basically it. That's how you make the entire thing. You can either cross over with your cord like this, or you can wrap around this way. You can double knot it by wrapping around twice, but like that is the basic concept of how you do Armenian needle lace. And regardless of the giant needle and the giant cord, I don't think it should be any different. So we're gonna go for it. And I'm assuming many time lapses will be filling the rest of this video because there is nothing fast about this. Okay, so I just wanted to give some first thoughts on the process now that I've gotten a little way into it. This far into it, to be exact. This yarn is really soft. First up, the whole process is a little more aggressive than normal. Like when I'm pulling the yarn through, you have to really yank on it. I think just because there's so much texture to it that it gets kind of stuck on itself, or there's just a lot more friction. It's not quite as relaxing of a process to make this as needle lace normally would be. There's a lot more dramatic yankage. The second thing I would say is it's working, and it's working great. Some things feel kind of different doing it with this big yarn, and the big one is adding a new piece. So with needle lace, if you don't know, you work with sections of your yarn or cord or whatever you're using. It's not like knitting or crocheting. Here you have to cut a length of yarn, use that length, and then cut a new length and tie that new length in. So normally what you would do is you would do that initial knot, and then this tail you would continue working into the next several loops, just so it's like extremely secure. It has several knots in it, and it's definitely not going to come undone. So I haven't been doing that. I've just been tying that initial knot and then cutting off the ends. So far, that seems fine. Like, I don't see anything that's coming undone. How long this will last, only time will tell. It took a lot longer for me to get into like the rhythm, I guess, of needle lace with this yarn because it blends into itself so much you can't tell what's what anymore. So when I tighten a knot like this one here, I basically, before it's even fully tight, I can't tell the difference between the different pieces of cord anymore. So I can't tell like what's this end of the cord and what's this end of the cord. It just goes into a ball of fluff. So it's a lot harder to then make these loops the exact size that I want them to be and make the knot fall exactly where I want it to be. Where it falls is where it's gonna go, and you better be happy with it. But I'm getting better at that, especially just using the needle to kind of pull at it and go different ways. I've only broken the yarn once. I kind of expected it to happen more often with how hard I'm yanking on it, but it hasn't been happening. There was just one time that I yanked on it and it was done. And then a big thing that I'm doing is every time I'm not working on this, I'm making sure to lay it down flat and like push it out and make sure that it's still laying flat. Because the normal piece that I'm doing, the purple one, it's very wavy at this point, and I'm honestly not sure if I'll ever be able to get it to lay fully flat again. To be good at Armenian needle lace, like, there's a lot of precision involved. Clearly, I'm not doing it that well on the purple piece. And on this one, you can see if I like hang it up, it doesn't necessarily want to fall exactly right. But the joy of it being the giant yarn like this is that every time I lay it down flat, it basically flattens out just fine. Also, this is still the first ball of yarn. I've barely made a dent on it, and it's already this big. So I don't know that I'll need 400 yards of yarn. This itself, this initial piece, was pretty fast to make and did not use all that much cord, and kind of reminds me of a beret. I wonder if I like cinched in the edges, if I could wear this as a beret. Soup stylish. I was originally imagining making sort of a small, cutesy sort of rug. Can't fit both my arms in the frame. Like this big in diameter. Hi! At this point, I'm wondering if this is gonna end up being a giant-ass rug that will cover the entirety of my living room floor, which granted still isn't that big, but you know, we'll see what happens. There's already fur all over it. Can you go away? Have you come to make your appearance? Okay, so I wanted to check in because I have finished the entire first skein of yarn, so 97 yards. God, that sounds like a lot. 97 yards minus, whatever is in here. So, you know, I'll be generous and say 95 yards have gone into this. Sure. So this is what it looks like right now. This is basically the size I was originally gonna make it because I was just gonna do like a little area rug, and this is just the one skein of yarn. So if you're looking to make just, you know, a little accent rug, not an area rug, area rugs are big, you can do it with just one skein of yarn. I did the mountain design here, which I've done before in crochet thread, but honestly it looks way better like this. Maybe I never did it quite right and now I finally did. I am very happy with all of these little triangles. Oh my god, there's so much dog fur on this entire thing. It's getting to the point that I have to lay this out on like the carpet in order to make sure that it's laying flat and I'm not pulling anything too tight or leaving it too loose. And despite the fact that I vacuumed yesterday before laying it down, there's still dog fur all over it. Am I surprised? Not really. How big is this anyway? Sure, that seems like the diameter. This is very unprecise measuring. It's 1 yard in diameter right now. Yeah, that looks about 1 yard. I think that's right. A yard in diameter out of one skein of yarn seems pretty darn good for me. So I have the 3 more skeins. Of course, I'm not gonna leave it this size anymore. I'm gonna go much bigger because why the heck not? And of course, the next skein of yarn is not going to double the size. I know how math works, kind of. I wouldn't be surprised if the entire next skein of yarn only adds about 6 inches on each side of this. I don't really know what design I'm gonna keep doing. I wanna try some different things. So I looked up how to do one called Hugging Friends. I might try to do that. So that's about it. Despite all the gaps in it, it still makes a pretty cuddly blanket. Okay, I am checking in on this project, but I couldn't be bothered to get out my full equipment, so sorry if the sound sucks. I have just finished the second spool of yarn, which means there's now approximately, I forgot how to do math, 190 yards? Yes, that is how math works. Let's see how big it is. So Link obviously likes it. Not that he's very picky about what he likes. I ran out of the second spool right here, which was actually like really perfect because it was the end of the pattern I was doing. I did 3 rows of like a basic seed stitch, and then I did what's called butterfly stitch. I don't know, I still don't know what you're supposed to call these. And then I did 3 more rows of the regular tight seed stitch, which I think kind of anchors things, so I like to do it in between more holy sections. And this is a good time to note that I'm going entirely off of the lessons of basically one person on YouTube because I am not from Armenia. I do not speak Armenian, and the only way I know anything about Armenian needle lace is through one lovely YouTuber who I will link in the description below because she has great videos in English on how to do Armenian needle lace. One last thing I want to see is how much bigger this has gotten now with the addition of another 95 yards. I'm also really glad to see that when I laid this out on the ground, it is falling pretty naturally and not puckering or anything, because my whole plan to like consistently lay it out flat and make sure that it was okay pretty much died on this second spool. I don't think I've laid it out flat once since I finished the first one. So, oh look, now you can see the full thing. Thanks for moving. Okay, so we're currently at 4 feet across. I'm getting more used to all of the motions of this, and now it's starting to be like really easy. All is going well. Behold the conquering hero. 3 skeins are now done. I only have 1 more to go. The Hugging Friends pattern on the outside here, basically I did too many of them. I didn't squish them together. I made the space in between each of them bigger than it should have been. So the outside is ruffling because of that, which, like, lesson learned for next time. I should have laid it flat like I said I would. I don't really mind. It's not bothering me that much. I have a feeling that the last skein of yarn is going to add very, very little to the outside of this. Do you want to get measured? Your head is 7 inches long. Yeah. Last thing is to see how big it is. How much have I added? And we are coming in at 58 inches across, almost 5 feet. Do you own it because your paws are on it? Are you so pretty? It's done! Do you like it? He likes it a lot. All 380 yards of yarn, all 4 skeins, complete. So I finished this yesterday. I actually just pulled out the last skein of yarn that I hadn't even touched yet, and I was just going to work on it a little bit, you know, hadn't touched it for a few days, so I was like, ugh, I should really finish this. And then I ended up using the entire 95 yards in that one day yesterday. I had planned to do 2 small rows, 2 medium rows, 2 big rows, 2 medium, 2 small. And I got all the way up to, I finished the second 2 mediums. So I did 2 small, 2 medium, 2 large, 2 medium, and then I started doing the 2 rows of small. I don't think I even finished the first row of that when I ran out of yarn. I haven't honestly checked, but I'm pretty sure I was like 3/4 of the way around the circle with the small seed stitch that I was gonna do to finish it off. So technically the edge is not even and complete with my design, but I don't really care. I quite like it. It's very soft, it's quite lovely, it looks like a giant doily, but like the yarn itself is so soft, which is I think why this little one absolutely loves it. Every time I put it on the floor, he comes and lays on top of it immediately, so dogs approve. So yeah, I'm pretty happy that I gave this a try, and if you also would like to give the same thing a try, I highly recommend it. It became a pretty relaxing habit after a while once I got used to sort of the more aggressive yanking of yarn, and it became more of a rhythm. It really was a very relaxing habit. Like, yesterday was a very relaxing day because I basically did this for 6 hours, and it was quite nice. So if you're looking for something a little unusual as a new crafting idea, I highly recommend giving this a try. If you want some tutorials on Armenian needle lace, do check out Ashley from Become Inspired, who I've linked below. That's where I got all of my tutorials and where I learned how to do this. It is not a hard artwork to at least competently accomplish. I wouldn't say master. I mean, I have not mastered it. The edge is all roughly because I couldn't be bothered to make all my stuff the proper size. Like, mastering it is another level, but it's really easy to give a try, and it's really satisfying when you bump it up to a giant yarn. So, when in doubt, do it bigger. As ever, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing and following along. There will be many more project vlogs in the near future or far future. I don't know. Who really knows? My schedule is crazy and I just like to make stuff. Okay, and with that, I think I'm gonna possibly take a nap with the puppy on the rug.